Yeah, going east. On your left-hand side, on the north side of the road.
There you go. Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On the recommendation of the Director of Finance and with unanimous support from members of committee, I've been elected to be the chairman tonight in the absence of Councillor Bell. Well, none of that's true, actually. I am the co-chair of finance, and unfortunately, Councillor Bell is ill tonight and will not be able to attend. But it sounded good, so I thought I would say it. But anyways, I did bring a new shirt, a new tie all the way from Kluakona, Hawaii, just for the occasion tonight, so there you go. All right, anyways, we get started. Today is Monday, March the 20th.
Broke.
First day of spring.
I don't have a light on my machine.
That was intentional?
Got it now.
I am the chair tonight, Mike Rayner. Any change in order of items on the agenda from any members of committee? Seeing none, disclosure, pecuniary interest, and or conflict of interest from any members of committee.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
the only thing I'd like to suggest is that the administration committee has has confidential stuff on it, and if we could recess and bring the confidential matters back after the second part of the meeting, and we wouldn't have to adjourn, have people leave and come back.
Okay, that's fine. If that's all right with other members of committee. Would you also like to move the fire department chief to the end of public works, just so that he can enjoy the visit
I think
today?
that'd be, I'll move that.
You want to move that?
No, I want to ask a question, actually.
Well, I got a mover, fire chief, to
I'll
move
second
you
it.
to, okay, second? Second,
I'll move it to 10 to 11.
that's good. I like that. Yes, Mr. Mayor?
I don't have a problem with moving confidential behind Public Works, but I was just wanting to know, is there any staff reports other than you, Mr. CAO? No, just you? Okay, then we're fine, thanks.
So we're fine? With regards to the fire chief, you want to move or you want to leave? Okay. All right. Well, you got out of that one. Appointments. I already did disclosure. Yes, it was already done. There were no conflicts with any members of the committee. Seeing none. Okay. Appointments. Procedural bylaw, section 6.5C, scheduled appointments and a presentation. Each scheduled appointment or presentation shall be allocated a maximum of 10 minutes, exclusive of time required to answer questions from members of council, with some exceptions that may apply. Item A30-17, Brenda Pickvance, multi-use recreational site MERS and roads, urban versus rural. Mrs. Pickvance, come forward, please. You need your address?
Do I need to state
No.
my name?
No, I've already done that for you, and we already know your address, so you're set to go. You have 10 minutes.
Okay, good evening. A little smaller crowd this time around, but nonetheless. Some things when I was here last time that kind of didn't get brought up. I mean, 10 minutes seems like a long time, but I guess it really wasn't. And I think we all know there are problems within the township as a whole in terms of urban versus rural. You can sometimes call it the Hatfields and McCoys if you like, but those differences are there. And I think those differences are getting bigger over time. A lot of times I feel as a rural person that our needs get ignored in favor of the town. And I've talked on this many, many times. Unacceptable roads, the wind turbines and the aftermath that came with them. And I believe Nellie DeHaan, who is here tonight, has done a very stand-up job in bringing all of those issues to the mayor and the council. And a lot of these are A, not being dealt with, or B, ignored. So which way, how do we get the aftermath fixed up from the construction of the wind turbines? How do we get the tree plantings done? It seems to be like a hot potato that keeps being tossed back and forth between the council and the wind turbine company. Other examples, the deplorable conditions of the community center parking lots in the rural locations. absolutely disgusting. That needs to be addressed. But the real icing on the cake came with the community fund. There were 5 things that the community fund could be applied to. And all of you, with the exception of one, has chosen to take all that money and put it towards the Mears project. First and foremost, it belongs to the rural communities to ensure that things are done there first. Can we call it commandeering the money? Can we call it confiscating the money? It doesn't matter what we call it, but I do not believe that money was all there to be taken and applied to one project. We need to kind of share the wealth. The road use agreement, one of the most interesting things I found in that, and that was an agreement signed between the township and the Wind Turbine Corporation, and it said, quote, "The township considers tarred and chip roads to be a primary service." Do I consider that the same as heat, hydro, EMS? When can I expect to receive this primary service? There is a big rift. We're a hard-working bunch, us rural folks. Made up of farmers, made up of woodlot owners, people from all walks of life. And we just wanted to be treated fairly. I'd like to spend a couple of minutes on the arena. I believe we should fix up what we have. I have purposely gone to the arena on a Sunday skate just to see what does the building look like, what are the kids doing. All the kids care about is hitting the ice. They don't care what the walls are like, they don't care what the ceiling looks like, they want to be on the ice. We want to make sure that it is structurally sound, absolutely. Do we need a new ice pad? Yes, I believe there's some environmental restrictions coming out in the next few years that will mean there's a new way of icing the arenas. Does it need a facelift? Yes. Not so much on the outside, more on the inside. Could we not put an elevator in there to accommodate seniors, moms with strollers, so that that second floor could be utilized more fully than it currently is? I think we should make use of the existing facility and fix it up. It's reasonable, it's responsible, and it certainly comes within budget. The library, is the library getting too small for the population of West Lincoln? I understand that there are some means to make the existing area bigger, and that was in the original building plan. Does the township need more space? Could we not utilize the old fire hall? I mean, honestly, we have 2 fire halls sitting there side by side. Why can't we put some of that upstairs space to use? The township is faced with just a multitude of issues right now. One of the top one has to be the possibility of the high school closing. Every town needs its own school. That will forever change the demographics if the high school closes. Young families moving into the area, the first thing they're going to be checking out are schools. not the recreational facility. It's going to be schools. I do not want to see the kids in my area or the other rural areas bused any farther than they currently are. They would probably be on a school bus just to get from Caster Center to the high school here, with all the stops along the way. Environmentally speaking, we do not need more school buses on the roads. We do not need more traffic going down those north-south exits into Grimsby. School buses, I do not believe, are considered clean vehicles at all. Then we,
You've got one.
1 minute?
You've actually over the 10 minutes already, but we'll let it go for a little bit longer.
Okay. St. Martin's School, we don't know where we're going with that. Legion Villa. We need more senior housing. If we need to do some things with the seniors, I don't think it's so much meeting places. I believe it all comes down to organizing some senior groups within town, and there certainly are ones around. Look at Glanbrook, look at Grimsby, look at Lincoln. Rural infrastructure. Perhaps get Tober Road done. What a great place to bike and walk. Industrial infrastructure. That increases our tax base. Vacant storefronts. Truck traffic in town. And on they go. So what I am looking to say tonight, do the right thing. Be fiscally responsible. Give something to everyone. Bring all of West Lincoln together. If we do it piece by piece within budget, maybe someday we'll even be able to add a pool on. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. McFadden. May we have a copy of that, please?
I'll email you a copy.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Item A, 31-17, Glen Boy Campaign Coaches Refundraising Campaign Program.
Good evening.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Want to say, our CAO would like to speak for a minute.
And, Mr. Chair and members of council, I just wanted to introduce Glenn this evening. Glenn's been working with staff and administration over the past few weeks, trying to get the program up and running and moving forward. I just thought this would be a great opportunity to bring him in front of council, just to give you an update where we're at, what's the next steps, and really we're just in the preliminary stages. But I just thought it would be nice to bring Glenn in tonight, and council can hear some further information with respect to fundraising. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. CAO.
Thank you very much. I was asked to just give a quick overview tonight of the fundraising program. And so at this point, we've been retained to assist in doing the planning of the fundraising program. There's 3 stages to every fundraising program and every fundraising campaign. And the first stage is that of the planning aspect of it, a community scan. The second phase is the readiness, where we put together the infrastructure of the campaign, and the third is the implementation of that campaign and how we support the campaign. So so at this point, we're in the process. We have already prepared some materials for that community scan and for the planning stage of it, and we're looking at building a list of individuals that we will talk to over the next month and a half, 2 months to confirm our approach to the project and how we're going to unfold the campaign. Then we would move from that component, once that was completed and approved by committee, we would then look at moving towards the readiness phase of the campaign and how we would structure the campaign within the community. Right now, the goal that we're testing for the campaign is $1 million, and we would be looking at doing this community scan to ensure that we know the right approach in this community to secure that $1 million or surpass that $1 million. The overall campaign, as it unfolds over the course of three components, that being the planning, the readiness, and then the implementation, the overall process takes about 14 months to complete. So The beginning piece of the planning and the community scan is about a 2-month process. And then from there, it's about 3 to 4 months during the readiness phase, and then on to a max of about 12 months for a campaign in most communities of this size. We will be informed by that first stage as to just how long the process will be and what the appropriate goal would be to securing the community. So that's, I just wanted to give you a quick overview so you get to understand that there's kind of 3 stages. We've been retained at this point to do the first stage, that's it. At that point, committee makes decisions as to whether they'd like to move forward and how that would happen.
Does any member of
Any
committee have any
questions?
questions for Glenn at this time?
Thank you, Mr.
No,
Chair.
Mr. Chair.
And I know a capital campaign requires an involvement of many.
Yes.
And while you will do the scan and you'll do the readiness, or you may, pardon me, because you just said you've been retained to do the scan.
Yes.
The preparation of what's going on. Let's get a couple things on the table. A capital campaign requires everyone to be very involved. And so I would expect that as this rolls out, some of the biggest ambassadors to moving this forward and meeting with the people who are the biggest fundraisers, funders, would be the very people on this side of the horseshoe. And that a capital campaign doesn't usually like to go to the street until they know that the members that are closest to it have all participated, and that's what we like to take to the street, is that everyone involved has participated. So that being said, when will the meetings with the members behind this desk occur for us to be able to give you our input and or understand more carefully what the one-on-ones that usually happen?
Do you want to respond to this?
Mr. Chair, two members of council, is going to advise at the end of the presentation. There's going to be a memo following this presentation tomorrow to all members of council that's outlining, I guess you would say, next steps in a timeline where participation, and as you said, from members on this side of the horseshoe, will be asked to be involved if they choose to or not. So once that information is gathered and compiled, it will then be presented to Mr. Boy, and he'll be presenting back to us a specific timeline within 6 to 8 weeks, I believe. The 2 months is a critical path where information is relayed back to the members on the list.
So I'm on a capital campaign committee. I'm not trying to be a smarty. I just know that you can't go out and ask the public if you're not going to be willing to give it yourself. So I'm looking for, is it Mr. Boyd that will be conducting those interviews, or is it with us, or is it staff that will be conducting those interviews?
So
Through the chair, not through the CAO, I apologize.
that's fine. Okay, so the answer to that one is that campaign coaches, our company, will be conducting the interviews in the community to gather that information. It will be some of you around that side of the horseshoe might be individuals that we'll be speaking to within that process at the beginning, so that at the very beginning we can be informed get more information about the community. That will be important. But in terms of conducting the interviews, we would be conducting the interviews on a one-on-one basis with members of the community, gathering that information and bringing that information back to the committee and planning from that point. At this point, no one is being asked for a donation to the campaign.
No, not just yet.
At this point, we're just gathering our information so we can get a good community scan and understand how we would approach the community at that 1 million plus mark for a capital campaign. So from that, we would then draw our conclusions and our recommendations as to where we go next in terms of the readiness phase. You're quite right. We would ask members of council, members of the committee to consider their contributions first in terms of before we go to the community, because it is very much a part of making sure that we have support from those who have the ability to support it at the beginning before we go to the general public.
So one last question, Mr. Chairman, and that is, our CAO tends to be very conservative and not blue. And so the target of $1 million was established so that we had something to shoot for. But in fact, we'd had a much larger goal earlier on. And so that's just the initial speed bump along the road, regardless of what we are collecting. Because we wouldn't know until we did the scan and the readiness phases what we could possibly collect, right?
until we've done the scan, we would not know that, yes.
Okay, so,
So, and during that scan, the $1 million is the benchmark that we're kind of looking at, because that was the number that was proposed. But if it comes back and there's the potential to raise more than $1 million, then we'll definitely be pursuing that.
Okay. Any other members?
thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Council Bilsma.
Thank you very much. Through you to Mr. Boy, when you talk about the $1 million benchmark, is that a net or a gross figure? Obviously, you're a professional. You're in this for business. So is that a net or a gross figure?
So the way the communities normally work on this process
Yeah.
is simply that they look at securing the proceed, retaining the council that they're going to use to help support the campaign and move the campaign forward, and that's usually separate from the actual campaign. So in this case, would be $1 million. Like if it was $1 million campaign that we're moving forward, that would be the goal that we're trying to achieve, $1 million.
Okay. And then, but you have disbursements. You have
Sure.
Okay,
Sure.
and that comes off of that. Okay.
That either comes off of it or it comes out of another budget within council.
Okay.
That
Yeah.
has happened.
No, that answers my question.
Anything else?
No, not at this time. No. Thanks.
Anybody else? I have a question, sir. You have a broad background in this, and you have done other municipalities in this program?
Yes, campaign coaches have been in business since 1990 with a focus on community-based capital campaigns. We don't do a lot of other fundraising other than capital campaigns. So for the last 26 years, we've been doing capital campaigns across the province. The one that is obviously the closest to you is the township of Lincoln, and the town of Lincoln. And we completed that project a year and a half ago, 2 years ago.
Okay, that's an interesting question. The Township of Lincoln, did they not raise either $3 or $4 million?
Yes, they did.
So why is the Township of West Lincoln so much lower than that when population-wise we're not that far apart?
So that's what the scan will help us determine, what is the right number. The plan that was put forward on the RFP was that potential of $1 million campaign would be enough to get you in a position that you could move forward with your project. That was the request within the RFP. We will always be looking to see if we can explore more than that and the potential of that.
Through you to our CAO, where did that $1 million from the RFP come from?
Mr. Chair, through the members of council, it was a conservative number, as I said before, that we believe is obtainable through grants, through naming rights, and through fundraising programs. So it was a number that we used compared to what Lincoln was having to use and compared to our own in-house information that administration sat down and worked out. We felt, and as I said, I wanted to present to you the worst-case scenario of $1 million. I could move that budget up to 3, however, that wasn't our goal. Our goal was to give you guys the worst-case scenario, so.
I appreciate that. Did you say that also included in that $1 million grant money, or is that on top of that?
In addition to the fundraising, we would like to get money on top of that. That would be grants, further grants on
So
top
that
of the
could be
1
on
million.
top of that.
Correct. And there's, the fundraising also includes naming rights. So for example, the Fleming Center down in Lincoln. So, you know, there's about 3 or 4 possible facilities, if approved by council, that there could be naming rights for a variety of things. And there's advertising on the boards, and then there's advertising on the score clock. There's a variety of marketing and advertising program. It's not just specifically one word when you say fundraising. It encompasses an entire project.
I'm quite familiar with the Lincoln one, having worked at the Fleming factory there and know the family. If you don't mind, one more question to
Sure.
you. I think it's no disrespect to Councilor Bilsma, but I didn't quite get the answer that he asked for. Is the fundraising $1 million net or gross?
It would be net, I would believe.
It would be net?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Jason had.
Okay. Councilor Trombetta.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Boy, how are you? Just a question. The threat, obviously you did this stuff in the past, and Lincoln, I don't need specifics, they had obviously a threshold. I'm quite sure they came in, and what was Councilor Rayner saying, $3 million, $4 million you were saying? was their threshold $10 million? Or was their threshold $1 million and they went up to 4 million? This is,
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to say, like, I want to know those answers to see if Lincoln was, like I said, 10 million and they came to 4 million, or were they at 1 million and got to 4 million? Can you help us out with that?
Sure.
Yeah.
They were, with that, public knowledge, so you can share this stuff. Lincoln was looking at 3 components of the project, federal government, the provincial government, and municipality, and that was where they were going to come up with it. Municipalities' monies were going to be a combination of the reserves and their capital budgeting, as well as a campaign. So they had a $15 million project, that's what they were hoping for. They did not secure the provincial funding. They secured the federal funding, but not provincial, during the time of infrastructure. So as a result, they had to come up with 10 million as a municipality. So their number that they put out to kind of go to do the community scan on and test was that of $4 million is what they put out. We came back and told them $3 million was attainable. And they ended up at 3.2.
So once this, sorry, Mr. Chair, so once the scan is complete, you're gonna come back with a more attainable number. If it's $1 or if it's $5 million, you're gonna come back with that to committee, correct?
Correct. Correct.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay,
further
that's it. Any further questions? Thank you, Mr. Boyd. I appreciate your presentation. We look forward to seeing you in the future.
For sure. Thank you. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to request to address items on the agenda. Procedural bylaw 1013-5 general rules. 1 hour in total shall be allocated for this section of the agenda, and each individual person shall be provided with 5 minutes to address their issue. A response may not be provided, and the matter may be referred to staff. Are there any members of the public who wish to address any item on the Administration, Finance, Fire Committee agenda that is on for tonight, Monday, March the 20th? Seeing none, we're moving forward. This has not been deferred, so we'll hear this right now. Fire Department update. You owe us. A32-17, Fire Chief Dennis Fisher, Fire Department monthly update, February 2017. Chief, it's all yours.
Slow month, I guess, for February. Station 1 had 14 calls. Station 2 had 3, and Pelham had 3 down at the east end. Some of the notes over the month, new recruits, interviewing 12. We started last Thursday. I have 3 more days, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of this week. So hope to have them done by the end of the week. Promotional wise, we finished our testing and our interviews for captains. Rick Tansley is now promoted to captain of Station 1, and Phil Griffin and Keith Tilstra have been promoted to captain at Station 2. That being said, that leaves lieutenant positions open in both stations. So they will be posting the week of the 27th. Fire prevention, Eric Weaver, the fire prevention public educator, he's in the public schools doing the mandatory grade 5 fire safety program. Apparatus fleet, there's nothing this month. Activities, we were at the Family Day event at the arena. Did lunch and played hockey against the minor hockey coaches, so we had fun doing that. They had an advanced pump ops course held at Station 1 a week ago, 2 weeks ago Saturday. Well attended, great course, lots of good information. Station 2 renos are going well, framing's finally done. So moving on there, and we had an automatic aid call in Grimsby in the month of February. And that's about it.
Thanks, Chief. Any questions from members of committee? I have one for the chief. Can you tell me what full complement is for Station 1 and Station 2, and how many you still require for each station?
Station 2 is 16, and Station 1 is 31.
And how many do you have in each one now?
Station 2 does not need any.
Okay.
I need 4. I'm recruiting 4.
And you have 12 that you were looking at applicants?
We're doing
For
12
four-
interviews.
For
yeah.
4 positions?
Yeah,
That sounds healthy.
correct.
Okay, any further questions? Seeing none, thank you, Chief.
Okay.
Please stick around with that.
As the prisoner would say to the warden, you're free to go. Okay, now let's move on. Consent agenda items. All items listed below are considered to be routine and non-controversial and will be approved by one resolution. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member requests it, in which case the item will be removed from the consent resolution and considered immediately following adoption of the remaining consent agenda items. A, item 33-17, 1 Joint Accessibility Advisory Committee, February 9, 2017 minutes. 2 Sustainable Economic Development Committee minutes, June the 8th, 2016, June the 24th, 2016, and July the 14th, 2016. Note the initial May 24, 16 meeting was introductory meeting only, and there were no minutes. 3 Information Report RFI-T-08-17, February 2017 Budget Status Report, and 4 Recommendation Report RFD-C-04-2017, Authorization for Use of vote counting equipment. Recommendation that the Administration, Finance, Fire Committee hereby approve the following consent agenda items. 1, item 1 be hereby accepted. 2, items 2 and 3 be hereby received for information. And 3, item 4 be hereby received, and that the recommendations contained therein be adopted with the exceptions of any items from members of committee that wish to have this pulled. Seeing none, I need a mover and a seconder.
Item 4 pulled, Mr. Chair.
Oh, just squeak that one in.
Thank you.
I need a mover.
And item 3, sorry.
Should we lie down? And item 3, I'm holding a few more seconds. Would you like 2 and 1, or are we,
No, I'm good on those 2.
you're good on those 2?
I'll move that those 2 should.
Oh, okay, moved, Councillor Chichak moved items 1 and 2. I need a seconder. Mr. Mayor, any questions with regards to 1 and 2? Seeing none, all those in favor? That is carried. Move on to item 3. For item 3, I need a mover and a seconder for that one, please. Councillor Chichak and Councillor Bilsma. Councillor Chichak, you have the floor.
I have to find it, sorry.
Darn those computers, eh?
I know, I'll do that now. What page does it start on?
19 to 20. You probably got the French side.
I do, yes, sir.
Flip it to the-
I had only one quick question, and
Who's it directed to?
actually, it may have gotten answered. I'm good. I'll move that item 3 get moved forward. I'm good.
Okay, we have a mover and seconder for item 3. Any further questions with regards to item 3? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. Okay, item 4, would you like to move that one?
I would
Councillor
move
Chichak?
it.
And a seconder for that one would be Councillor Bilsma again, and Councillor Chichak, you have the floor. This one is page 21.
This is the vote counting equipment, and I just wondered, it used to be that we shared vote counting equipment with other provinces. How is it, because there's no money in this, I assume that, through you, Mr. Chair, that the money's included in the budget that the clerk very carefully puts aside for elections. But just so that we understand, this is the same kind of equipment as last time. We rent it, but we don't own it, and it comes from, it's shared with other municipalities? Or is it?
Through you to members of committee, it used to be shared. We now own all the equipment and we share it with no one.
So it's ours?
Any further questions?
No, but it is the same equipment as we've had in previous elections.
Yes.
I have a question, if you don't mind, through you to the chair. How many times have we used this?
Through you to members of committee, probably
Oh,
6,
through
I
me,
would
through me.
suggest. I'd have to
Oh, yes,
count
yes.
exactly, but I
That
think we
many
started in 97.
Oh, I thought it was.
So we've done it a lot, but over the years, we've bought more equipment, and most recently, we bought equipment from Grimsby, at a very reduced price, so that if we had any problems with ours, we have extra. So we are in very good shape with our equipment, and we owe nothing, and we own it all.
So before we owned this, we got a good deal on equipment they had in Grimsby? And we no longer require
We
them?
own some, and we bought a few more units.
Okay. So, Trombetta, you have any questions?
No, I just thought.
Okay, we have mover and a seconder. Any further questions on that one? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried, thank you. Communications, there are none at this time. Staff reports, item A34-17, Treasurer and Director of Finance, Donna DePolifis. Report RFD-T-07-17, fees for tax and water certificates. Recommendation that report dated RFD-T-07-17 regarding fees for tax and water certificates dated March the 20th, 2017 be received. that council approve a $45 fee for a combined water and tax certificate to be effective May 1st, 2017. That bylaw 2002-115 be amended to remove the current tax certificate fee and replace it with a $45 fee for a combined water and tax certificate effective May 1st, 2017. And that bylaw 2004-42 be amended to remove water certificate fee of $30 effective May 1st, 2017. I need a mover and a seconder for this, Councillor Chichok, and seconded by Councillor Trombetta. Any questions from members of committee? Councillor Chichok.
Thank you, Councillor, pardon me, Mr. Chairman. And my question through you is, we are buying a whole bunch of new software for a number of the departments. Will the software that we get make this easier?
Through you, Chairman Rayner, to Councillor Chichok. Most definitely, the software that we have purchased allows for a combined certificate, and that is why we're bringing forward a request for a different fee. It's now a combined water and tax certificate, so this will ensure that every tax certificate also has a water certificate already included within it. So this is the result of the new software.
Right. And further, Mr. Chairman, I thought that there was a new type of service that most lawyers use, so they didn't need the certificates. Is this something that they can take out insurance or something, and that tax certificates were not all that required anymore? I must be mistaken, Mr. Philippus, because you look troubled.
No, through you, Chair Rayner, to Councillor Chichok, there is insurance that if a new owner buys a property with an outstanding water account, there is insurance that will cover that. The problem with that is it requires a lot of work on the part of the township to track these, follow these, do the collections on them. When it's a requirement on the tax certificate, it's much easier. The person purchasing the property sees right there what is owed. So it's a much smoother process. We still have lawyers that do request tax and water certificates as well.
And my final question, Mr. Chair, through you, is how many tax certificates, water and sewer certificates do we do in a year?
Good question. It's a good question.
Through you, Chairman Rayner, to Councillor Chichok, in 2016, 353 water.
And just a comment, I think that this is starting, as you say, it's a complete tracking. So I think the new software that we're putting in for the township not only will it let us do correct tax bills or more correct in these water certificates, but it will also let our staff probably track many things by a roll number, so that if someone's buying a house, they'll know whether there's outstanding work orders, and it'll be simple. So I guess as we move forward in technology, we're moving into this century. So thank you, Mr. Philippus. I support this.
Thank you. Any further questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Moving on to item A35-17, Clerk Karen Langley, report RFD-C-05-17, West Lincoln Age-Friendly Committee Terms of Reference and Council Appointment. Recommendation 1, that report RFD-C-05-17 dated March the 20th, 2017, regarding West Lincoln Age-Friendly Committee Terms of Reference and Council Appointment be received, and 2, that the terms of reference appended in Schedule A to this report be and is hereby approved, and 3, that the clerk be and hereby authorized to begin the recruitment process for committee members, and that 4, that the following member of council be appointed to the West Lincoln Age-Friendly Committee, and that will be done in a minute. We need a mover and a seconder, Councillor Chichok and our mayor. It's open to members of committee who would like to go first. Councillor Chichok.
At the appropriate time, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to put forward Councillor Ganan's name for the committee. She's the new kid on the block, and she probably needs a few more nights out.
I guess through to Councillor Ganan. Did you know you were set up?
No. But is the implication that I'm really old?
No. Whoa, where did that come from?
This is coming
case,
full circle.
This is age-friendly.
I would be happy to
This is
do
for the
that.
14-year-olds and under.
I'd be very happy to do that.
Any further questions from members of committee? This is rather quick.
I would second that, Mr. Chair.
You would second that? Okay.
Now that I know that she's okay.
Well, that's what I had to find out first, because I wasn't sure.
Well, that was the question I asked the last time.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Gann, for agreeing with Councillor Chichuk's recommendation. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you.
Congratulations, Councillor Gann.
Welcome to the club. You're gonna have fun.
Yeah, we'll find some people.
Budget amendment, item A36-17, Chief Building Official Jeff Menard and Director of Planning and Building Brian Treble, report RFD-PD-44-17, budget amendment, partial funding of the Town Hall carpet, paint, and office furniture projects from the Building Department Reserve. Recommendation, budget amendment. 1, that the recommendation report PD-44-17 dated March 20th, 2017, regarding budget amendment, partial funding of the Town Hall carpet, paint, and office furniture projects from the Building Department Reserve be received, and that 2, that council approve a budget amendment to transfer $25,225 Canadian from the Building Department Reserve, which will pay back through the collection of building permit fees. I need a mover and a seconder for that, please. Mr. Mayor and Councillor Trombetta, any questions from members of the committee on this? Seeing none, all those in favor? That is carried. Other business. Item A37-17, CAO Chris Carter, reemployment professional accomplishments, Jordan Hamilton, Plumbing All Buildings, Ontario Building Officials Association course. Mr. CAO.
Mr. Chair, through the members of council, I'd like to take this opportunity to recognize another employee that has gone through another successful educational program course that will obviously benefit not only the department but also the service delivery that the residents are going to be receiving based on this successful application here. So kudos to staff and continually with the department heads to approve further educational programs. So.
Thank you. That's very good. Moving on, item A38-17, CAO Chris Carter, the upcoming office renovations and new e-agenda software. Verbal update.
Mr. Chair, through the members of council, please be advised April, I believe it's 25th, the last Tuesday of April, there's going to be renovations taking place right across the hall. As you know, these renovations have been on the books for some time now, and we're getting to them, and we're successfully have a game plan available. It's going to be kind of like the Band-Aid scenario where we're just going to kind of rip it off, and there's really no, I think you'd say, fun way of doing this. But anyways, the renovations are taking place at the end of April. And further to that, I think there was a comment made by Councillor Bell last week about the agenda software, the same time that we're talking about the financial software. Right now, working with the clerk department, we should have that out within the next couple of weeks, and we do have a successful, that we believe is a successful company that's going to be providing this software for us. So with the high-speed internet, hopefully out in the rural area, and this new app/software, that's what it's going to be. It's going to be an app for your agendas. Is going to be a lot more, I think, conducive for council's day-to-day operations of the agendas and minutes. So it's coming forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Item A39-17, members of committee verbal updates from members of boards or committees if required. Is there any? Seeing none. Oops, sorry, our clerk.
Through you to members of the committee, at the February Administration Committee meeting, there was a presentation by Mr. Paul Weeb of a petition. And unfortunately, we erroneously did not include the acceptance of that petition in the minutes. So I'm just advising you so that I can include it in these minutes that the petition was received in February and has been received by the township. So that's just for the record.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Langley. Okay, item A40-17, members of committee, other business items of an informative nature. Is there anything? I've got one that's a little bit of a sideline, but it's beautiful to see this. On the way here tonight, and I haven't seen this for years, there was a very large flock of snow geese flew over. They are rare to see this, and they're gorgeous. They're absolutely beautiful, big white birds. And it's been a long time since I've seen it. I used to run Edie Smith Food Farms in Winona, and I used to see them down there, but I think it's the first time I've ever seen it in the Caister area, and they're just magnificent. It was just a beautiful sight coming here. Anyways, new business, only farms that require immediate attention. Is there anything from members of the committee? Seeing none. Okay, we will move confidential matters to the end of Public Works regular meeting, so this meeting now adjourns at 7:17.
Recess.
We're taking a recess right now?
Recess, and then we'll come back after.
We'll come back after. Okay, I guess we'll have a 5-minute recess right now then, please.
Good night, Donna.
You said approve the